Okay, I gotta leave for work in 24 hours, so we're gonna talk a little Monday Night Raw. Just like last week with the old school Raw, I was actually left with a really big smile on my face, to be totally honest. It was the right thing to do, and I was very happy with the way everything played out. And the reason it actually took me a little longer than normal to start filming this video is because Ben and Will were actually over, and they actually hung out, they watched Raw, and I found out that, for those of you that were wondering when Ben and Will were coming back to the channel, very soon, because it sounds to me like with the holidays finally being over and everything going back to normal, they will be returning very soon, as in they will probably start coming over and I'll get new Ben and Will content every week that will be filmed on Monday before Raw. So that's what we're looking at right now. And also I was fooling around with my universe mode, obviously. I had just... Community Creations got the Outlaws, since apparently they're now going to be a fixture, at least for the foreseeable future, on Raw and SmackDown. By virtue of what happened tonight, obviously this is building up to Triple H and CM Punk at WrestleMania, which is what everyone knew that was going to be anyway. So, let's talk about Raw, shall we? Before we do, we got to throw in a little housekeeping, of course. Tomorrow, actually, almost 24 hours from this very moment, actually, 24 hours in this very moment. Yeah, it would be 24 hours. It's 12 hours in this very moment. That's it. Yes. Remember, Owen can't do math. So, 12 hours from right now, I will be going to work, and I will work until... I'm scheduled till 5. I'm going to see if I can work till 6 and get off at 5 tomorrow, make it easier. But if I can't, then I'll work till 5 tonight, and I will be going to Athens. AJ and I are going to be going to Athena to check out Inside Llewyn Davis in Nebraska. And I guess we're going to chill out at Wendy's for a couple hours because it's cheap and it's not putting us in a rush to get any place. Because Wendy's is pretty much just like a couple doors down from the theater. So it's really easy to get to. Okay, that's to be taken care of very soon. And of course, movie-related content, let's throw some out to you guys. Earlier today, AJ was over and we filmed the Golden Globes recap, which took almost 6 hours to post to the channel. But it's on there, and I know 7 of you, by last count, have already watched it. So thank you guys and girls out there for enjoying our awards content. And don't worry, it's definitely going to continue. Now, tomorrow, like I said, since this is officially Monday at 17 till midnight, and this is the video for Tuesday, I will say that Tuesday, of course, we're doing Inside Llewyn Davis in Nebraska after I get off work. Wednesday, I actually do have to work at, it looks like 12 to 6, but I may see if I can get off at 5 and make it easier. Wednesday will be the actual, I'm going to throw new verses out at you guys, so you're getting 2 verses this week. I was going to throw 2 verses out the same day. I decided against it last minute. Wednesday will be a nice night of content. We're doing awesome verses. And Thursday's a big day. Thursday is a huge day, a colossal day, a king-size day, as they said in That Thing You Do. I will say right now that Thursday is a huge day because of a lot of simple factors. Number one, Thursday is the day we will finally find out officially who will be running for the Academy Awards. We also will find out who's going to win the Critics' Choice Awards, because that's that night. And all that's going to be taken care of. We've got a lot of content to be filming, and we're going to have recaps of the Critics' Choice Awards coming this weekend, as well as our big video talking about a lot of what was supposed to be 4 big Oscar contenders. And I'm not sure at this point. Between August, Osage County, Inside Llewyn Davis, Nebraska, and Her will all be talked about on this very channel. And that's going to come out on Friday, because Friday, AJ and I are going to be watching the movies and not going to be able to talk about them. So Saturday, we're going to be doing the video, and it's going to be Jack Ryan, Shadow Recruit, The Nut Job, and Devil's Due, as well as Ride Along. Those will be talked about this weekend, and brand new verses coming up this weekend as well. So Oscar-themed verses about to end, and we're going to go into love-themed in February, of course. And, of course, we also, Thursday, other than the Critics' Choice Awards, we're also going to have our Screen Actors Guild Awards prediction video. That one I have been talking about. It's all over the place. It's not as bad as I remembered it, but still, it's all over the place, so it's a quick word of warning. That, and next week after that, we're going to be doing the BAFTA video. The week after that, the final week of January, is going to be the Independent Spirit Awards. And the first week of February will be the Oscar predictions, when everything's concrete and 100% solid, we're going to give our Oscar prediction. So that's going to be coming very soon to the channel. And we're also looking into some new segments coming in the near future. I talked about Will and Ben coming back very soon. Molly should be making her official debut very soon as well. So we got that on the pike as well. And for those of you out there, I'll throw it out at the beginning of the video and I'll say it at the end as I always do when I do the outro. If you guys are interested in becoming a popcaster, then send your submissions if you want to. Send your video. We'll put you on pop and make you a popcaster. So if you want to do that, it's suroanddisney@gmail.com. So you can check me out that way. So let's talk Raw, shall we? And I'm sorry to not do Impact the last couple of weeks. I haven't been with all the award season. I've been kind of out of it with trying to get everything, and I wasn't able to talk about Impact. Those are the Impacts actually I was at, so that was interesting. And Roderick Strong might be returning the company too. That's what I'm hearing. It's a potential. And the American Wolves, Eddie Edwards and Davey Richards, most likely will be joining Impact very soon. It sounds to me like a lot of former Ring of Honor talent are going to be making their way to TNA. And mark my words, even though it may be looking bleak right now, I still believe before this year is over, you will have at least one more taping back in the Impact Zone, whichever soundstage at Universal Studios. So, that being said, otherwise, I also mentioned, forgot about NXT this past week. Don't worry, it's coming. I may do a double NXT, potentially. The SmackDown match, main event, was the match that was on Raw tonight, so I will talk about it probably after the fact. Because obviously I want to recap NXT, because I love NXT, and I'm very excited. NXT is coming to the WWE Network. And I'm not going to rattle your cages about the reason why you need to sign up for the WWE Network. I'm going to, and I know a lot of people I know are going to. And you should. It's actually a really great investment. But we'll talk about that later on as we get closer and closer to the day. Next week, Batista returns to Raw. And that'll be interesting. Obviously, we're going to continue the build to the Royal Rumble, which is in a couple weeks. So let's talk about Raw, shall we? Now, we started off with an opening tag team match. It is Jimmy and Jey Uso against the unique tandem of the brainwashed Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt. So, let's talk about this match. So, Jimmy with 2 clotheslines, big savate kick, pushes him off to the ropes, big Samoan drop, catches Bryan flush, and he nails the Rikishi-style running butt bump in the corner. Bray Wyatt makes the save. He tosses him to the floor and reverse on that toss, and Bray gets sent to the floor. So Jimmy backdrops Bryan over the top rope to the floor. We see the Samoan suicide dive on Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan by Jimmy and Jey Uso, and they toss him back in. They both go up top with the Samoan splash. Rowan and Harper hit the ring and call for the DQ. So Luke whips Rowan into the avalanche on the Uso, and of course they're out of the way. Uso basically hit and run. They escape and live again to fight another day. Bray whispers to Bryan, and Bryan, of course, gets on his knees and throws out his arms and succumbs pretty much to the leader of the Wyatt family. Sister Abigail on Bryan. Harper and Rowan go to help him in the back. Bryan drops their hands, and he walks with Bray himself. So we started off the show with a bang. Again, dissension in the ranks between the Wyatt family and Daniel Bryan. Obviously, building towards what would later become something extremely obvious if you're paying attention at the end of the evening. Now, again, it's the sciences, the weird change of events, and especially with the weather. Now, I see Damien Sandow come out, and I'm thinking to myself, oh god, we're getting another match with Great Khali. No, it did not happen tonight. I had no comedy matches, actually, tonight, really. Actually, let me check to make sure I'm not losing my mind. I might be. Nope, no comedy matches tonight. There was a straight Raw completely, and Damien Sandow faced off against John Cena. This match was really, really, really good. And Sandow just hung with Cena the whole time. It was a great match, great back and forth contest. Let's talk about the match, shall we? Excuse me. Sandow goes to the leaping knee drop. Cena's out of the way, and ducks the clothesline, 2 shoulder blocks, proto bomb, goes for the fire knuckle shuffle, goes for the AA, gets countered into the Sandow driver, which the basically what Steve Corino used to grab both of the heads and slam it back with a sit out. Edge used to do it every once in a while too. And basically gets a 2 count off of that. So he goes for the Terminus. Cena breaks it with his superhuman strength, pun intended. And he drags him out, goes for the drop toe hold, and he goes for the STF. Sandow kicks him off. Cena charges in. Sandow kicks him in the kneecap, and drops him with something actually very interesting, very intriguing actually. He locks on what is referred to as the Royal Arch, which is basically a death lock with the knee in the, like the upper back, or sorry, yeah, like right between the shoulder blades basically. Kind of like the Lion Tamer, but as a death lock instead of a Boston Crab. That's the best way to put it. It looked awesome, by the way. And, of course, Cena powers out of it, hits the half Nelson neck breaker, 1-2, Sandow kicks out. So he goes up top, he gets caught, Sandow climbs up, goes for a superplex, Cena catches him, knocks him off the top rope, and Sandow charges in, Cena kicks him in the face, and, of course, plants him with the Tornado DDT, 1-2, and Sandow again kicks out. So he goes for the AA, gets countered to a Sunset Flip, 1-2, kick out, ducks the clothesline, and a neck breaker into a face buster, basically. I'll explain. Swing neck breaker, and he spins with it and drops a face buster instead of a neck breaker. Nick Burke actually used to do this in the double underhook version. This was only a, this was no arms hook this time. It was just basically the front face lock and spun around, dropping the face. But he looked really nice, Burkulator, which I haven't seen in a long time. And he goes for the You're Welcome, and Sandow ends up getting countered. Nice arm drag by Cena. And the drop toe goes to the STFs. Sandow makes the bottom ropes. Sandow locks on the crippler crossface, and Cena has nowhere to go, but Cena ends up using his superhuman strength yet again to pick up Sandow, contorting his body into the air, locking on the AA, and lays it out 1-2-3. Big win for John Cena, obviously. But Sandow, to his credit, actually made the match really good. It wasn't a squash. It was a believable back-and-forth match between two superstars. And that's what it needed to be in this point. Sandow at this point really needed to rub at this juncture in his career, given the fact that after losing Money in the Bank to John Cena, everybody thought that the Sandow train was pretty much derailed permanently. But he hung with Cena tonight, so it was fine. And it was the right thing to do. And obviously you can't have Cena lose because he's building towards the match with Randy Orton for the Undisputed World Heavyweight Championship at the Royal Rumble in a couple of weeks. Even though you do something with Randy Orton later on the show that completely negates what I just said, but it was the right thing to do in that situation. Now, I see the Big Show come out. Obviously, he's on a collision course with Brock Lesnar. It's officially announced for the Royal Rumble, as everyone knew it was going to be. And he goes on to face off against Jack Swagger. And it's basically just a one-sided match, honestly. Swagger gets chokeslammed, 1-2-3, it's over. Cesaro smartly runs away, and Zeb gets in the ring, and of course, Big Show looks like he's going to take him out. And Cesaro ends up intervening, and he gets like pushed over the top rope, and he grabs Zeb, he winks at him, he knocks him out. So, yeah, okay. So, the only thing I would like to see out of anything involving Big Show and the Real Americans is Antonio Cesaro giant swing the Big Show. I want to see that. That has to happen in 2014. And if it doesn't, it's a lost opportunity. Sinuses, man. I'm sorry about this, guys. Now, we get the match that we thought was going to be our main event first. And it turns out to be a main event at the top of the hour. It's The Shield against CM Punk and the New Age Outlaws. Okay. So we joined this match from live action, back to live action from the commercial break, obviously. And if you didn't see the match on SmackDown, they, obviously I didn't get a chance to see the match on SmackDown, so I don't know if it was a rehash of this match or not. I'm sure it probably was, to be honest. So we come back to live action. Rollins gets nailed with a spinning neckbreaker by Punk after the Aja Kong style back fist, 1-2, and a kick out. Short arm into a flatliner to the middle rope by Seth Rollins. Tagging to Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns has Punk over the bottom rope. He's like his head's draped over the bottom rope. Roman Reigns leaps up in the air on the floor, mind you, and does a front drop kick to the side of the head. It looked incredible. And it was obviously shown again because it was something that needed to be relived. So, tagging to Ambrose. Ambrose comes in, a step on the hand, a headbutt, a kick straight in the face. 1-2, Punk kicks out. Goes for a chin lock. Punk counters with a backdrop suplex. That gets countered, push him into the ropes, and a knee lift by Ambrose. Makes a cover 1-2 and a kick out. Tag back into Seth Rollins. He comes off the ropes. And he charges in with a big forearm in the corner on Punk, 1-2 and a kick out, tagging to Ambrose. Ambrose short arm clothesline, 1-2, Punk kicks out. The well-placed stomp 3 times, and he steps on the abdomen, kind of like grinding his foot in. Ambrose cuts off Punk to try to make the tag and toss to the floor. Whip in reverse. Ambrose gets set hard into the ring steps. Tagging to Seth Rollins, and he goes for a leaping stomp off the top, basically going for blackout off the top, and he misses. Punk catches him with a high leg lariat, tagging at Roman Reigns. Roman drags Punk to the corner, tells the Outlaws to suck it, does the crotch chop, and he gets caught with his troubles with a high angle kick from CM Punk. Excuse me. Good lord, sorry about that. I should be fine now. The high angle kick drops Roman Reigns like a bad habit. Punk goes to make the tag of the Outlaws, and just like Sid Justice did to Hulk Hogan on Saturday Night's Main Event back in the day, they both drop off the ring apron and they left Punk for dead. So Punk tries to fight him off, and basically he does a spinning neck breaker on Roman Reigns, and he boots Ambrose off the ring apron, and Seth Rollins gets backdropped over the top rope to the floor. This allows for him to be of attention diverted long enough for Roman Reigns to crush him in half with a spear. 1, 2, 3. Once again, Roman Reigns pins CM Punk 2 weeks in a row, and the Shield go on to beat the New Age Outlaws and CM Punk because the Outlaws turned on Punk. After the match is over, they triple powerbomb Punk, and Punk has no allies. This could be interesting. Obviously. What this is building towards is to get the heat off the Shield in Punk and put the heat on the Outlaws in Punk, leading towards Triple H, which is the end game. So Punk is going to have to fight off the Shield, and now he's going to fight off the New Age Outlaws, and on top of that, everybody apparently is a puppet of Triple H, so that's how Punk is going to get to Triple H at WrestleMania. He's going to basically just fight the gauntlet. That's exactly what I'm thinking is going to happen at this point. And I think that's the right thing to do, because other than that, who else do you see Punk facing at Mania? Really, like, if you honestly had to ask me if it was going to be Punk and Triple H at Mania, then I probably would have said before, yeah, maybe not. But now, I'm pretty sure it's solidified at this point, and it should be. Once again, armchair booking is galore. If the match could end anyway, this will never happen. Never happen. You'll never see this move in the WWE. Even though it is DLC right now on WWE 2K14. I will say right now that if you want to end Triple H and CM Punk properly, you have Punk pin Triple H after the Pepsi Plunge. I know that'll never happen in a million years, and I don't think it would happen in a million years, but I'll tell you what, if you want to pop the crowd as something really awesome, do that. And it'd be interesting to see it happen, honestly. Of course they won't do that. Punk will probably just, I don't know, he'll tap Triple H out or just pin him with the go to sleep. Anything's possible, but I think the Pepsi Plunge would actually be a good idea. So, obviously they're not going to do that, but still. We had a matchup with Naomi and Cameron, the Funkadactyls, taking on the Divas champion, the cute and crazy AJ Lee, and her bodyguard, Tamina Snuka. Again, I like the way that Cameron looks. She's a pretty girl. She can't wrestle for crap. Honestly, she can't. Naomi is the one they need to be booking, and they need to book her as a singles and let Cameron just be her cheerleader at ringside, honestly. She's not improving at all, and I'll talk about this. Before the match starts, something really awesome that I caught out of the corner of my eye. We see Emma in the crowd, and she is holding up an Emma-taining sign, which is awesome, which I hope this means something that a lot of people have been talking about for a while. I don't think it's going to be a full-scale invasion like people were saying, but the NXT women's roster start showing up at WWE events and get their name out there. And if Paige wasn't on the shelf with some mysterious, miraculous injury right now, I would say she'd be leading the charge. But we'll see what happens with this, honestly. So, this match was bad. Really bad. Tamina Snuka with a reverse bear hug on Cameron and a big scoop slam. Tagging to AJ, she nails the reverse neck breaker, 1 count only, locks on AJ with a rear naked choke, and Cameron with a really bad looking jawbreaker trying to break it out of it. An elbow by Naomi, and AJ nails with a Shining Wizard. Elbows Naomi off the ring apron momentarily, AJ with a Shining Wizard, and 1, 2, 3. After the match is over, Naomi hits the ring, enziguri kick on Tamina Snuka, rear view on AJ, and we're building towards the fact that we're going to get Naomi and AJ Lee as the next program for the Divas Championship. Okay, I guess we're doing whatever we have to do in order to bide our time. I know what should happen at WrestleMania. I think the end game here should be AJ Lee against Lita. To be totally honest, that's what I would do. But I don't know if it'll happen or not. If it's going to happen, I say you have to have Lita show up at the Rumble or Elimination Chamber and make the save when AJ beats. Actually, we'll do it at the Rumble. Actually, that's a good idea. At the Rumble, you have AJ go over on Naomi. And you have AJ continuing to beat her down. Lita comes out, makes a save, and we get Lita doing a program for the next couple of months until WrestleMania, and then she can just go away if she wants, or she can stay on the roster, because obviously with Caitlyn departing the company, they need another babyface diva on the roster, and they don't really have one. So that's what I think that I would do in the situation. And AJ beating her idol would be such an awesome story. I know it'd be a better story if AJ was a babyface, but I still think there's legs on the story. If anything, we can do the whole, how could you left the WWE, you broke my heart, and now I'm not going to ride your coattails. I'm going to come back. I'm going to bring you out of your so-called retirement, and then I'm going to retire you permanently. Something like that, and it'd be really interesting to see the program, to be totally honest. I think it'd be a good idea, especially for this WrestleMania season. It's so packed, but there's nothing really to do with the Divas division. I mean, the only thing you really can do at this point is maybe AJ and Tamina Snuka against Trish Stratus and Lita, potentially, but I don't know if Trish Stratus would do Mania at this point. Maybe. Who knows? So, that said, we go on to our next match, and this obviously was basically all brought on by the fact that Kane is in charge, and Kane, earlier on in the show, decided he wanted to padlock the steel cage match that Brad Maddox set up, so basically he's kind of undermining his authority as Raw General Manager. The thing is, you had the opening match, which I already talked about. It's now going to be the main event on the show. It's going to be the steel cage match. This time, pinfall submission or escape over the cage. You can't escape through the door because Kane is going to padlock it. So that's basically what we got here. During this, we basically got Randy Orton complaining once again, whining about how he doesn't want to face John Cena at the Royal Rumble. And he basically says, I need to talk to Triple H, and he talked to Stephanie, and he talked to him now. And Kane's like, I only can do something about tonight and tonight only. So I'll give you a match tonight. I'll give you Kofi Kingston. So this match was really good, too. This is our next match. The current reigning and defending WWE World Heavyweight Champion, the Viper Randy Orton, taking on Kofi Kingston. This match was really good. We'll go midway through the match here. And he puts him on the turnbuckle. Does Randy Orton. A headbutt. He climbs up. He's going for the Orton Crest Superplex. And Kofi gets hit with it. Doesn't happen very often. Usually it gets reversed. But Kofi gets taken to the canvas with a huge superplex. And 1-2, Kofi kicks out. So, leaping knee drop, 1-2. Again, Kofi kicks out. So, he clotheslines him over the top rope to the floor. Does Kofi because he gets the upper hand momentarily. He does that leaping head fake. Baseball slide. Orton scoots out of the way like he's Dick Van Dyke with an ottoman. He puts on the brakes. Kofi jumps off the ring apron with a leaping clothesline. And we come back to live action from commercial break. Orton, of course, hits the backdrop suplex across the barricade like he always does. Tosses him in, 1-2, Kofi kicks out. Goes for the chin lock, and Kofi elbows his way out. Backdrop suplex creates separation, whip in, and he puts on the brakes when Kofi goes for trouble in paradise. He ducks out of the way, backdrop over the top rope to the floor, tosses him back in, and he steps with all his might down, stomps on the forehead of Kofi, makes a cover 1-2 and a kick out. Goes back to a chin lock, Kofi elbows his way out. Whip in, charges in, catches the back elbow, and ducks the clothesline. 2 double chops, and he goes for the leaping clothesline, and he gets swatted away. Stomp on the back of the head. Orton showing a lot of vicious nature in this match. St. Louis uppercut once. He drops him. He goes for the second time. Gets countered on a backslide. 1-2. Kofi kicks out. Kofi gets kicked out on. We'll go with that. Goes to the St. Louis uppercut again. He drops Kofi like a bad habit. 1-2 and a kick out. So he goes to the chin lock again. Kofi punches his way out. Comes off the ropes. Goes for the knee drop, and he misses. Standing drop kick, comes off the ropes. Goes for the boom drop. Well, sorry, I forgot the one part of his spot. Comes off the ropes, leaping clothesline, goes for the boom drop, and Orton's out of the way. And he goes for the snakebite DDT, gets countered into the SOS. 1, 2, 3, and Kofi wins clean in the center of the ring. Great match between Randy Orton and Kofi Kingston. Very reminiscent of their feud back in the day. Very enjoyable match. So what does Orton do after the match? He pulls a temper tantrum and he like destroys the announce table and he throws steps away and he starts basically pouting. And of course, when I saw John Cena Sr. sitting at ringside, I was like, something bad's going to happen to him tonight. And sure enough, it did. So Orton walks around, sees John Cena Sr., and he grabs him by the head and starts pounding away at the back of his head, and he pretty much lays him out. John Cena runs out to save his dad, and we see John Cena Sr. get carted off to the hospital. And really interesting way to do it. Orton's done this before, obviously, and it worked well to do it this time. Most fans don't realize John Cena Sr. is a manager in New England Independence, so obviously they're thinking that, oh my god, Randy Orton went crazy, he just attacked John Cena's dad, he doesn't even know it was coming. Well, yeah, but that's how we're supposed to see things. I really enjoyed this for what it was. Great heat for Randy Orton here, and obviously I'm not a big fan of Orton, obviously, but when it comes down to it, great heat for Randy Orton, great heat leading towards John Cena trying to give Orton his comeuppance at the Royal Rumble, which I still am not sure if it's going to happen or not. Who knows? We may have a new challenger for the Royal Rumble winner now, after the end of tonight's show. Who knows? So our next matchup, Lillian Garcia is doing announcing for this match, and I looked over at Will and Ben, I was like, dude, I guarantee you Lillian's going to leave the ring, or Ryback's not even going to be on the show after the fun stuff that happened on Twitter over the weekend. This is the Brotherhood, the WWE Tag Team Champions, Cody Rhodes and Goldust, in a non-title match against the Nexus Relocation Program, Curtis Axel and Ryback. So I'm surprised here, but it's funny because when Ryback gets out of the ring, actually, it's not before he gets out of the ring, I'll be completely honest here, she announces Ryback, and before Ryback is even down to the bottom of the ramp, Lillian Garcia is gone. So yeah, that they weren't in the same ring at the same time, so it worked. So Goldust hits the backstop back elbow, and that's nailed on Curtis Axel. Tagging to Ryback, whip in, charges in, catches the boot up, and the Rhodes Bulldog out of the corner, tagging to Curtis Axel. So Axel comes in and tagging to Cody Rhodes. Clothesline, whip in, reverse, tip up, sunset flip in the corner. Of course, 1-2 and a kick out. Drop down uppercut, and he goes for the Bob Holly, kicks it down through the uprights. Springboard missile drop kick, goes up top to jump off for the standing moonsault, or the moonsault off the top. And Ryback gets caught with a beautiful disaster, or a version of it. Goldust boots Ryback off the ring apron. Axel rolls him up, hooks the tights, 1-2 and a kick out. Goes for the hatchet, gets countered to the crossroads, 1-2-3. Great finishing sequence for this match. And it worked because these two have been working each other on the house show circuit lately. They've been doing a three-way opening match, and Ryback and Axel have been winning and facing the Brotherhood later on in the show. So obviously they've got their timing down, and the match worked really well, honestly. It was a good TV match. It wasn't great, but it was okay. It was serviceable for what it was. Hot finishing sequence worked really well. Tag team, once again, very important in WWE nowadays. So, another good television match with Rey Mysterio against Alberto Del Rio, and I want to check this real quick before I go any further to this. I'm checking something specifically. Yes, okay, good. I thought so. Rey Mysterio Jr. taking on Alberto Del Rio. Obviously, Alberto Del Rio is on a collision course with Batista, of all people. So who better for ADR to try to take out the week before Batista shows up on Raw but the former Tag Team Championship partner of said animal? Yes, I was making sure. I wasn't sure. I didn't remember if they won the belts or if they just challenged for the belts. I knew they were facing Eminem at the time, but I didn't know if they actually won. I don't remember, so good. We've covered that now, so we're good. So we get midway through the match, and Del Rio gets caught, catches Mysterio with a tilt-a-roll backbreaker, 1-2 and a kick out, ties his arm up in the middle rope, really putting on the pressure, getting ready for the cross arm breaker. High velocity whip in the corner, charges in, and Mysterio out of the way. Del Rio goes shoulder first in the ring post. Del Rio goes all the way to the floor, charges in, boot up, and he goes for a springboard, gets caught, and head scissors into the 619, goes up top for the splash. Del Rio crotches him up top. He gets crotched, and he readies for it. GSK while he's on the top rope, slumped over, and locks on the cross arm breaker, and Mysterio taps. So big win for Del Rio, because he needs one at this point, especially going after Batista. He basically just challenged Batista again, said he's going to eliminate him from the Royal Rumble, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be an altercation between the two on Raw Monday night. I think it's pretty much a guarantee at this point, a necessity right now. Main event time, Jimmy and Jey Uso against Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt inside a inescapable steel cage, inescapable door-wise. You can climb over the top, or pinfall or submission could end the match. Let's talk about to finish this. Oh my god. So, Whisper in the Wind on Bray Wyatt. Bryan makes a save. Bryan ties him up with the Tree of Woe. It's a sliding drop kick. And Bryan stops the Usos and gets caught with a backdrop superplex from both Usos. Makes a cover, 1-2. Bray Wyatt makes the save. So Bray sends one of the Usos into the cage. Goes for Sister Abigail. Gets countered into the super kick to the side of the head. Usos make the climb. Bray and Bryan from behind. All four are up top. And Bryan headbutted off. When he gets knocked off the top, he bumps into Bray, and Bray gets crossed on the top rope, so they're down. One of the Usos with a flying body press off the cage on Eric Rowan on the floor. He's officially out of the cage, and the other Uso hits the floor at the same time, so the Usos win this. So, it's left Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan in the center of the ring. And Bray, of course, goes for Sister Abigail, just like he did earlier. This time, Bryan swats him off. Bray gets on his knees, basically telling him to fight him. So he gets up, and he gets tired of it, so he charges Bryan, and Bryan goes out of the way, and we hit the charging drop kick, and then he hits it again, and he hits it 3 times, and then the stiff kicks, and the buzzsaw kick almost decapitates Bray Wyatt. And then he unzips the jumpsuit, takes it off, throws it on the ground. We have Rowan and Harper desperately trying to get in the cage as this is going down the whole time. Fans are going completely insane at this point. So the jumpsuit's off. Bryan's got his gear on. The fans are going crazy. The stiff kicks again. Bryan sees that Rowan and Harper are both trying to ascend the cage. So Bryan takes Bray Wyatt, tosses them into both, and knocks both Wyatt family members off the cage. So, Bray's in trouble, and the entire crowd are chanting yes at this point, and Bryan is chanting yes, and we've got Daniel Bryan back, and he mows over Bray Wyatt with a fire-breathing knee. Bryan climbs out, the entire crowd are chanting yes with Daniel Bryan, and that's how we go home on Raw tonight. Oh my god. Oh. So, this is how you build things, folks. I enjoyed Bryan being with the Wyatt family because I thought it was a good idea. But the end game here is we've got a couple weeks to the Rumble, so you have Bryan is going to fight off the Wyatt family. Once he gets past the Wyatt family, I think that it's time to do what you should have done before. WrestleMania needs to be John Cena and Daniel Bryan for the Undisputed World Heavyweight Championship. And, you know, there's 3 different things you can do with Bryan right now. You have the teacher versus student match against Shawn Michaels, which would steal the show. You have Bryan trying to break the streak in a respect match against The Undertaker, which he has personally requested. And Daniel Bryan legitimately fighting for the Undisputed World Heavyweight Championship in the endgame after all this what's best for business nonsense. All of this is Daniel Bryan finally raising the WWE World Heavyweight Championships high in the air as the undisputed champion. And then, of course, you bring Jericho in, and then you start a feud with Bryan and Jericho. That's what you do. So, what happens now? That's a question you don't ask on Raw very often. And for a long time, you just couldn't. It was stagnant. Now it's starting to heat up again. We have a couple weeks to the Royal Rumble, a couple weeks. We have Batista coming back next week. We have some stuff you can do to line out the undercard for the Royal Rumble. And speaking of that, as of this moment, I have heard via the WWE app that the superstars that are going to be in the Royal Rumble will be Batista, Alberto Del Rio, CM Punk, who was put in the Royal Rumble by Kane, Big E Langston, The Miz, Kofi Kingston, The Brotherhood, Goldust and Cody Rhodes, R-Truth, and Xavier Woods have all been added to the Royal Rumble. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 20 superstars to be announced. gotta think, who's going to be in the Rumble this year? Who's going to be the surprise? Jake the Snake Roberts going to actually be in the Rumble? I think it's a really good possibility. Is obviously all the Shield will be in the Rumble. That makes sense, right? And is Hulk Hogan in the Rumble? Maybe, possibly, potentially. Are the Outlaws in the Rumble? Potentially, possibly. Obviously, Goldust and Cody Rhodes are going to eliminate each other, which Goldust will be eliminated by Cody Rhodes, which will lead to Cody and Goldust at WrestleMania. So, that's what I'm thinking there. You obviously have to have the Wyatts winning the WWE Tag Team Championships. At least that's what I thought was going to happen. But I'm not sure at this point. Because on SmackDown this week, you have the New Age Outlaws against the Brotherhood for not a title match, but you would think the Outlaws would go over and then they can face off. But then again, you can't really do that because you don't really have a babyface team that could take the belts off the Outlaws. Even though I wouldn't mind the Outlaws being tag team champions at this point, but now they're heels, so it's kind of different to do that. A lot of different directions to go. Obviously, you know what's best for business tonight. I love this. I love these non-Triple H and Stephanie shows. They're a lot better than they were. And with the crowd ending the way they did, with Daniel Bryan on top of the cage chanting yes, being completely absolved from any involvement with the Wyatt family, the jumpsuit on the ground, everything, it's all gone. Daniel Bryan is back. And it was awesome. It really was. And hopefully the end game here is Bryan finally getting the Undisputed World Heavyweight Championship, and I'm pretty sure it is. But I don't know if it's going to happen at Mania or not. Like I said, they still did teacher versus student with Shawn Michaels. Still time to build that. And there's still time to build him taking on the streak. I don't know, storyline purposes, how it could happen, but there's got to be a way. And then, of course, the other one is him facing either Cena or Orton for the World Heavyweight Championship, or just have Brock Lesnar take the title off Cena or Orton and have Lesnar and Bryan at WrestleMania. I want to see that. That'll be awesome. That'd be a wrestling clinic and stiff as all get out. And Bryan, of course, taps out Lesnar and wins the championship. So, there you go. So, in essence, you would have Bryan be like Eddie Guerrero was with Brock Lesnar, and that's how you do it with that. So, I mean, there's a lot of different directions you can go. And it's always good because we're always talking. And if you're talking about something, and obviously something's good about it, or something's bad about it, either way, publicity is publicity regardless how you look at it. So, that was Raw. That was enjoyable. NXT and SmackDown I'll try to do soon. We'll go back to Impact after as soon as I can, honestly. I've got a lot to say about everything. And I'm not giving up on TNA like the entire world has. I'm not. I still think TNA is going to thrive in 2014, and I still think TNA returns to Universal somehow, someway in 2014. I don't know what happens. I know there's sound stages got to be used for Halloween Horror Nights. You know, Fake uses sound stages. I know productions use sound stages, but still, I still think there's opportunity for TNA to come back to Orlando, to Universal, where it belongs. And I'm really excited about the WWE Network. I'm very excited about being able to see and call NXT every Thursday. So I may have to change my my video schedule for NXT. NXT may actually become its own show. We'll find out soon enough. And like I said, Ben, Will, Molly, AJ, all of the other podcasters will be joining us back very soon. A lot of AJ content in the next couple of weeks. A lot of movie content as we get all the way into the Academy Awards on March 2nd. Wrestling content, I'll do the best I can, folks. So trust me, we'll get it done. We always do here on Pop. In the meantime, if you like these videos, tell your friends about them. Leave a comment. Do subscribe. Help spread the word about Pop and the upcoming Popcaster Revolution. We are, as of this very moment, and I'll look at it here on camera so I'm not wrong on the times. As of this very moment, we are at 370 subscribers and 23,380 views. My goal before this year is over is 500 subscribers and 50,000 views. Help us get there, and you can by spreading the word. How do you spread the word? Simple as that. You can like our Facebook fan page. It's Sir Owen Disney Pop. I'll start updating it very soon. Trust me, the likes won't be in vain. Don't worry. If you want to be my friend on Facebook, go right ahead. It's Owen Disney. And finally, if you'd like to follow me on Twitter, it's at Sir Owen Disney. And last but certainly not least, you want to send your thoughts, comments, queries, and opinions to myself, to any of the other podcasters about the channel, about things you want to see on the channel, potential verses, ideas, anything you want to throw out my way or anybody's way on this channel, be my guest, SirOwenDisney@gmail.com. In the meantime, thank you guys and girls out there for watching, and you know what? I'm going to play a little universe mode before I go to bed. And until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all I got to say about that.